Changing behavior to be a more effective leader, team member, and for personal performance takes a change in habit and attitude. I'll talk about that process in this video. Hello, I'm Stephen Goldberg of Optimist Performance, bringing you practical tips and ideas on leadership, team development, and personal performance in the workplace. In my last video, I talked about changing behavior to be a better leader for improved personal effectiveness. And in this video, I'm going to talk more in detail about that process. And following in the next series of videos, I'm going to actually walk you through that process for change. Because changing behavior is really tied to our habits and our attitude. And a behavioral change is really much more difficult to change than, let's say, a physical one. Imagine for a moment trying to change the way you brush your teeth in the morning or in the evening. Just try that, and instead of using the hand you normally use, pick up the other hand and try and brush your teeth. Now, you will be able to do it, but it's going to take some practice until it becomes comfortable. And that's probably the key reason why behavioral change is so difficult, because our habits, our thought process, our emotions are keeping us doing the same thing over and over because it's easier, it feels good, it's more comfortable. So making that shift in behavioral change really takes a motivation, really takes a want to do it. And that's really the first step, is to become aware of what is the impact of this behavior on myself and on others. In the last video, I used the example of the type of person whose main motivation is accomplishment and whose fear is ineffectiveness. And to identify your type, you could do that through the book Crazy Zoo, which I've been recommending in the recent videos I've been doing. And the reason for that is because discovering your type, knowing more about yourself, I believe, and I know from my own experience, is the key to really creating that change. And as I walk you through this process of change using goal setting, it's really important that you identify the key fear or restrainer relative to your type that's holding you back. And the book Crazy Zoo makes it really easy to do that, because as you read the book, at the beginning especially, the author Fritz Gloss gets you to choose your type through a description of the characters and identifying with the characters who are animals in the book. So it's a fun process and a great learning tool, and I highly recommend that. And so becoming aware of the thing that you want to change and the key restrainer is really the first step. Awareness, and then making that choice to actually take action on it. Using the example that I gave before of a leader whose motivation is accomplishment and fear is ineffectiveness, when that fear kicks in, that leader tends to become impatient and overly controlling. Now, I'm using this example because it's one of my tendencies, and I discovered that when I went through a training with Fritz Gloss on the types of people approach. And when I did that, I realized that the impact of my impatience and controlling style of behavior, of leadership, was having on the people that I was working with. And so that awareness was created then. Before that, I thought my behavior was okay. I thought it was the other person who needed to change their behavior. Why are they being so insensitive? Why aren't they doing things in the right way or quick enough? And I didn't understand that everybody has their own style relative to their type, relative to their personalities, and I need to be flexible to adapt to that. So our attitudes and habits drive certain behaviors, and that produces certain results. And if the results that we're getting are satisfactory, then there's no reason to change. In my case, when I become impatient and when I over-control, then it creates tension in the relationship with the people I'm working with, and they're not engaged in their work, or the trust is broken between us to a certain degree, and I'm not getting the results I want. I'm not getting the engagement level. Well, how do you change your attitude and your habits in order to change the behavior. And that requires goal setting, which I'm going to get into in detail in the next video. And I'll also get into using affirmation and visualization to disrupt the thinking process in order to drive that awareness to make the change. Now, one important principle of goal setting is to put it in writing. Putting it in writing is making a commitment to yourself. And that's why I've made available the goal planning worksheet that you could download. Go to the description of this video to do that. So I encourage you to get the book Crazy Zoo. And in the next video, I'm going to start with the goal setting process. So it's important that you select one key behavior to work on, and I'll walk you through that process. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk again soon.